Hey guys, it's Rob here and welcome back to another video. So in this video we do have some pretty interesting things when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2. Some more rumors have popped out, stuff from retailers, actual listings of games, along with prices as well, by the way, and accessories. We also do have a new price for the Nintendo Switch 2 from a Spanish retailer as well. Now this is not the only retailer that's doing a price. There is also another price that popped up. So there are a couple prices out here and we're going to talk about why that is. And we do have something that popped up from Best Buy Canada too for the pre-order, so we're going to talk about that also on top of all the other stuff. If you guys end up enjoying this video, make sure you guys leave a like. It helps the video reach more viewers when you do. And of course, subscribe for more Nintendo Switch news and rumors and leaks and all that great stuff. My Twitter handle is RoboRob93 if you do want to follow me on Twitter. So the Nintendo Switch 2 Nintendo Direct is coming very soon, just a couple days away. I will be streaming it, by the way, so make sure you guys stop on by the stream if you want to watch with me. Maybe we'll go live a little bit before and we can draw some different characters from Nintendo or something, or maybe just play Xenoblades. I don't know. But overall, it is a very exciting time. Now, when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 price, that is something that's highly talked about. People are wondering, how much is this thing gonna cost us? Some people want it to be $400, some people want it to be under $400, some people want it to be $350. There are rumors going around right now, even before all of this, that it was going to be $500. So over on Twitter, Switch to Sock has a screenshot of a Spanish retailer, and he has this to say: a Spanish retailer, Extra Life, duh, it's Extra Life, has a placeholder for Switch 2, and it's 439.99 euros. Now that's going to be about $450 US, give or take, which is about the price that a lot of people expect. I mean, personally, I would like it to be $400. I mean, $350 would be even better, but I highly doubt Nintendo's going to do that because the original Nintendo Switch still costs, or at least a low OLED version, that costs $350. So I doubt they're going to end up making that $350. So for about $450, $400 sounds about right. Now the interesting thing here is that there is another retailer in the Netherlands that has a post for the Nintendo Switch 2 and also has Switch 2 available for pre-order, weirdly enough. Now that's going to cost you 499 euros. Now these are two different prices. So why is there two different prices? Because that's about $500 US. A pretty big difference in my personal opinion anyways. Maybe people who have more money don't really see too much of a difference. But personally, I think why there are so many prices that are floating around right now is because retailers don't know. They're just throwing out what they think is going to be the price for the Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think this is going to be something confirmed. I could be wrong. This could be the price for the Nintendo Switch 2, and maybe they do know the price and that's the price. One of these two are correct. But in my personal opinion, I think it's just these retailers guessing what the price is rather than them actually knowing what the price is. And again, I could be wrong on that. But when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 price, I think that's going to be pretty important, especially when it comes to the other Nintendo Switches. I've always said it would be pretty cool if Nintendo ends up giving a price cut on the original Nintendo Switches, the Switch Lite, the Switch OLED, and the OG Switch, or the LCD Switch, whichever one you want to call it. I guess the Switch Lite is an LCD Switch too, but you guys know what I mean. So if they do end up pricing it somewhere like $50, maybe to $100 over the Switch OLED, so $400 to $450, it would be really cool to see a price decrease for the original Nintendo Switch, or even better yet, price it at $350 and then reduce the price for the original Nintendo Switch and the OLED Switch and the Switch Lite. We know that Nintendo was going to have backwards compatible games with the Nintendo Switch 2 and vice versa. So it's not like they're not going to support the console at all, so reducing the price and having more people buy Nintendo Switches probably something that they would want, especially since the Switches are stagnating when it comes to just people going out and buying the other Nintendo Switches. With that being said, let's move on to the next topic. So apparently, when it comes to exclusive games for the Switch 2, Nintendo has some pretty interesting things that is actually officially from Nintendo. So this is what they say on this post from Actual Arrow. This is the screen cap. Available on Nintendo Switch Lite, and Nintendo Switch OLED model systems in late April 2025. A system update is required to use the feature of Nintendo Switch systems. Compatible systems must be linked to a Nintendo account to use virtual game cards. Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games, that means that this was already confirmed a long time ago that Nintendo Switch exclusive games was going to be a thing, but just putting it out there for you guys now, for those who didn't catch that bit of news, there are going to be exclusive games to the Switch 2. But anyways, continuing, and Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games can only be loaded onto the Switch 2 system. So that right there is pretty much confirming that there are going to be Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games specifically. So ones that run better, ones that look better, ones that maybe have more detail in them, etc, etc. So this is going to be the pretty interesting thing, because this thing happened on the 3DS as well, but it was secluded to specific games, and it wasn't even a lot of games in the first place. The thing that I'm wondering is, especially when it comes to third-party games, is this gonna be one of those things where we see a lot of Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive games, and maybe in 4 to 5 years they start kind of pushing out the Switch Lite, the Switch OLED, and the original Nintendo Switch? Similar to how the same thing happens when we get into a new system with the Xbox Series X and the PS5. They're kind of, pushing out the older consoles. There are games that are exclusive to that platform. Is Nintendo kind of taking that route? That's something that I'm wondering. And not only that, but this kind of does open the conversation for, like, what does Nintendo do next? I think that would be a pretty interesting conversation to have, because I feel like if Nintendo went towards just a traditional console and it was a little bit more powerful than the Nintendo Switch 2, I kind of feel like it would be a downgrade from the Nintendo Switch, right? And we don't really know the power of the Nintendo Switch 2, even though all the rumors, leaks, all the stuff we've talked about on the channel, we don't officially know how powerful this thing is going to be and how developers are even going to make use of the Nintendo Switch 2 in the first place. Like, sometimes you'll get games that should run really well on the Nintendo Switch and even the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, and they just don't. Even on PC, sometimes the optimization just sucks and it doesn't run well at all. I mean, take a look at the Pokemon games as an example. There are games that look like that run really fantastic on the Switch. And there are also games that should run really well that just don't run well. And then there are games like Doom and Witcher 3 that shouldn't run and is pretty much a miracle that it even runs on the base Nintendo Switch. That's really impressive. So it's going to be very interesting to see what Nintendo does next, if they'll continue with the Nintendo Switch line, or are they just going to kind of throw that away and try something different? I don't know. I guess we'll see. And moving on to the last topic when it comes to those prices for the listings, if you guys see on your screen right now, there are some listings for different Nintendo Switch accessories and Nintendo Switch games. So right now there are 4 on your screen. One says €34.95 in euros, €26.95 euros, €39.95 euros, €34.95 euros. And I'm sure there are more Nintendo Switch games that will appear, but those are just 4 Nintendo Switch games. Now, some of these do actually have release dates attached to them as well. Those will be on your screen right now too. And it's pretty interesting because the accessories specifically, they're not really too pricey. Even the games, they're not really too pricey. Like $39.95, I'm guessing that's about what, $40 in US dollars? Yeah, it's about 40 to 45. On Google, it says 40 euros is 43.28 or $43.28. So that's pretty close. That sounds like a smaller game or maybe some kind of remaster. And then $34.95 sounds like some kind of indie game that has a physical release or something. Let me know what you guys think about that down in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in the next video. And also, don't forget to subscribe on the way out. See you guys later.